As Chen Xiang stepped onto the stage, his facial expression was completely relaxed. He was in no way anxious because of his four powerful opponents. This calm and confident attitude made others admire him. Chen Xiang stood with the other four on stage, and even though they were 20 years old, they were still shorter. Their statures were not as robust as the 17-year-old Chen Xiang's. He actually looked more healthy and energetic compared to them. Ling Yulan, who was in the audience, seriously watched Chen Xiang. Her cold and beautiful eyes carefully observed Chen Xiang, wanting to see through him. But it was like clouds had covered more clouds. She wasn't even able to sense Chen Xiang's breath. Start. The instant the signal was given, all four of the other participants rushed towards Chen Xiang extremely quickly. At the same time, they simultaneously blasted out a fist wrapped in vigorous true qi. Everyone could clearly tell that the four fists emitted a frightening amount of true qi. It seemed like they could even blast giant mountains into tiny rocks. Chen Xiang simply stood still with both hands behind his back. The four fists fiercely landed on his chest and bursted into qi waves which lead to a gust of fierce winds. The whole tournament stage wildly shook and nearly collapsed. At this moment, everyone's heart seemed to stop. The four fists were so frightening, and had all landed on a single target. Let alone people, even solid iron bars would easily break under such pressure. But Chen Xiang was not an ordinary man. When the four fists struck his chest, his expression did not change in the slightest. In fact, if anything, his face was more relaxed as he stood there, which bathed the entire crowd in silence. Everyone stood dumbly like wooden chickens. Astonishment was clearly visible on every single face in the crowd. Ling Yulan's brow wrinkled. She was tightly watching Chen Xiang. Her mature, proud and cold face was painted with surprise. Even if she completely exhausted all of her true qi, she could only barely resist those four fists. Yet not only did Chen Xiang not use any true qi, he didn't even prepare himself to defend. This was how casually he received those four blows. Chen Xiang didn't use true qi because he had already entered the 8th level of the mortal marital realm. Furthermore, his body was naturally a lot stronger due to the refinement in the immortal and devil pool. For him, opponents in the 6th level and the 1st level of the mortal marital realm were the same, their attacks were merely superficial. Of course, out of everyone present, the most shocked were the four men who attacked Chen Xiang. As their frightening attacks struck Chen Xiang's body, it felt like everything went down the drain. The enormous strength they had put in their strikes just quietly disappeared, making them all question their own power because of how easily the other side had resisted their combined attacks with nothing but his body. They all openly retreated. If Chen Xiang can casually resist their simultaneous attack and not even flinch, one could only imagine his strength. It was dead certain that he was extremely powerful. Chen Xiang fully opened his eyes fully as the invisible slaughter qi emerged from his body. All the four men were bathed in extreme bloodlust as their whole bodies froze. It was as if they had fallen into hell at the height of its slaughter, and Chen Xiang was the god of slaughter, and the four men were nothing but lambs led to the slaughterhouse. Do you want get down and forfeit, or do you want me to act? Chen Xiang's voice was full of killing intent. This was truly terrifying. This slaughter qi resulted from him practicing the slaughtering heart from the white tiger divine exercise, which added a spiritual pressure. Chen Xiang's voice resounded as the four people standing immediately backed off. Under the sweep of his frightening and almost divine killing sense, their spirits had collapsed long ago. With the help of his divine sense, not a single one of them had any intention left of fighting against him. From start to finish, Chen Xiang did not even move. He simply scared away the other four and entered into the quarterfinals. This result was outside anyone's expectations. Those who had entered into the quarterfinals experienced a large amount of pressure from facing this monster, Chen Xiang. Their chances of winning just diminished greatly. Next was to create 4 groups of individual 1-on-1 fights. This was also managed by the Yao family, but the matchups had not been announced for quite some time. Chen Xiang said nothing. In his eyes, whoever he had to fight was the same. Even if the Yao family tried to play dirty tricks, they would all amount to nothing like their attempt just now. Chen Xiang's next opponent turned out to be a Yao family member. In fact, it seems like he was the brother of Yao Tianhua. His name was Yao Chong and was only of the 6th level of the mortal martial realm. This actually made Chen Xiang surprised for a moment, but he quickly guessed things were not as they seemed as he was the most clear on the Yao family's strength. Not to mention that the Yao family had arranged for someone from their own family to fight, there was no doubt some form of trickery involved. The Yao family disciples usually either planted spirit herbs or learned alchemy techniques. From the very start, their strength was way behind others. Yao Tianhua was an exception as he could practice alchemy and have a good amount of power, however he was currently missing. The Yao family simply did not have any other outstanding disciples. The Yao family mainly used their dans to attract other families and a large number of wandering martial artists to settle down under their authority. Once again, Chen Xiang was in the last round of the day. Starting tomorrow, there would be 2 fights each day, one in the morning and one in the afternoon. Chen Xiang wasn't concerned about anyone, so he didn't go watch the earlier matches. he felt that the time would be better spent practicing alchemy. Once 2 days had gone past, and Chen Xiang was walking towards the Yao family after eating lunch, although he didn't go watch the 3 matches, 2 yesterday and 1 in this morning, he still learned who won. The Crown Prince and Lang Yulan both won their respective matches and would fight each other tomorrow morning. This match between the Crown Prince and the Great General's daughter should be very interesting. Perhaps I'll go and watch tomorrow. Chen Xiang made a quick mental note as he stepped on the tournament stage, waiting for Yao Chong to arrive. As for Chen Xiang's and Yao Chong's fight, everyone thought that Chen Xiang would easily win. However, they were uncertain why the Yao family would allow Chen Xiang to face Yao Chong. It was like sending him to do a thankless and pointless job. Your display of strength clearly shows your worth as someone who defeated Tianhua. I hope Brother Chen will show some leniency. Yao Chong approached Chen Xiang and said with a smile. Yao Chen and Yao Tianhua looked somewhat similar. A sliver of pride could be easily seen on either of their faces, but it seemed more subdued on Yao Chen's. Chen Xiang did not actually care about this Yao family junior or his courtesy. Chen Xiang smiled and said, then we can compare notes on our martial arts. The two quickly separated from each other. Start. The instant the signal was given, Chen Xiang saw a hint of ruthlessness and cunningness appear in Yao Chong's eyes. Chen Xiang was slightly surprised in his heart, but knew that there was some dirty trickery ahead. Yao Chong took the initiative as he leapt towards Chen Xiang. Both of Yao Chong's fists were cloaked in hot flames, surging with a vigorous and scorching hot true qi. Watching the punch come towards him, Chen Xiang immediately moved to dodge, but in that instant, his whole body suddenly became lax, and he was unable to put forth even a tiny bit of strength. He was even unable to move his true qi, which made his heart jump with shock. Yao Chong's face suddenly turned ferocious as he said in a heavy voice, Chen Xiang, you are finished. Both of his flaming fists landed on Chen Xiang's body, madly striking him. In just a blink of an eye, his chest and head have all been smashed by those violent fists. This bastard, he's actually at the 7th level of the mortal martial realm. Chen Xiang had not expected that Yao Chong had hidden his strength so deeply. Yet what Chen Xiang was most angry about was the despicable trick that Yao Chong has used that resulted in Chen Xiang's body turning weak and made him unable to mobilize his true qi. Unfortunately, Chen Xiang's body could be considered tougher than stone. Despite being struck by a 7th mortal martial realm expert with no defense, he was still not seriously injured, which scared the living daylights out of Yao Chong. When you were talking to me, you released an odorless and colorless poison from your mouth, paralyzing my meridians so that I can't move my true qi, right? Chen Xiang whispered, as his clear and calm eyes looked straight at Yao Chong. Yao Chong did not expect for his opponent to find out what method used so soon, but did not confirm or deny Chen Xiang's statement. Instead, he attempted to strike him with even more ferocity and madness. From the start of the match, Chen Xiang fell under the wind. It was out of everyone's expectations that Yao Chong's true strength was at the 7th level of the mortal martial realm, which surprised all of them. Now they all understood why the Yao family had matched up Yao Chong against Chen Xiang. Chen Xiang, are you only this strong? I'm very disappointed. Lang Yulan stood nearby hugging her bosom, her cold eyes filled with disappointment. At this time, Chen Xiang was already pushed to the edge of the stage and was going to be hit again by Yao Chong. The Yao family's methods were very clever and even caught Chen Xiang off guard. The Yao family considered nearly everything, but didn't know about the invisible ring on Chen Xiang's finger, or the 2 peerless beauties inside it. One of which was a grand master of alchemy. This is a strong poisonous gas that has a strong attribute of paralysis, but after the refinement of your body in the immortal and devil pool, your meridians are extremely tough. You only need to operate the Tai Chi divine exercise, and let the Tai Chi diagram in your dantian rotate and the poisonous gas will be refined, Su Meiyao said. Operating the Tai Chi divine exercise, at once, the spirit chi all around Chen Xiang madly rushed into his body. Surging into the meridians along with the paralysis poisonous gas, they both flowed into his dantian and was refined by the 5-element true qi inside. Yao Chong originally wanted to seriously wound Chen Xiang and then toss him off the stage, but no matter what Yao Chong did, Chen Xiang's eyes were filled with a deadly killing intent. Nothing close to resembling humanity could be seen in his eyes. Chen Xiang was already able to move. Meanwhile, without knowing this, the crowd was watching as Yao Chong pulled out a short knife that was shrouded in a cold aura, heading straight for Chen Xiang's chest. TLN. The actual translation for the short knife was Snickersnee, which looked like this. Go die, Yao Chong shouted. Everyone was shocked as the whole field bursted into commotion. One could hear curses being shouted one after another. Just as Yao Chong's short knife was about to pierce his opponent's chest, Chen Xiang, who had not moved until now, suddenly stirred. Every single bone in Chen Xiang's body was ringing, emitting a crackling sound. He stretched out his left hand and grabbed the edge of the short knife between his 2 fingers, then viciously pinched the weapon, turning it into small shards. Bastard, first you paralyze me with underhanded poisonous gas, and now you want to kill me so desperately. You Yao family scum are ruthless. Chen Xiang cursed extremely angrily. Violent azure auras surged into both of his hands, filling to the brim with a lighting aura true qi, which was extremely scary. Go die! Chen Xiang shouted angrily as both of his fists shot forward like two violent storms, striking directly on Yao Chang's body. In just a blink of an eye, a rain of fists containing violent lighting qi pounded Yao Chang's body. Yao Chang could only emit a series of pitiful screams as the Yao family members in the audiences quickly leapt towards the stage. After seeing this, Chen Xiang's palms suddenly transformed into a huge azure dragon claw. Azure true qi was valiantly soaring from the dragon claw and swiftly pierced through Yao Chang's body as blood soon sprayed out like a never-ending fountain. The instant Yao Chang was hit by the azure dragon claw, true qi easily pierced into his fragile body and left 5 gaping holes. He fell like a rag doll onto the ground but was still not dead yet. Chen Xiang, stop! A Yao family elder blasted a fist towards Chen Xiang, who easily sidestepped it. A sudden burst of true qi flashing with lightning aura could be seen on Chen Xiang's legs. Fiercely lifting his leg up, he spun like he was wielding a giant axe wrapped in azure lighting and sent a devastating chop towards Yao Chang's waist. Stop! That Yao family elder roared again, but Yao Chang had already been split in two by Chen Xiang's violent spinning kick. Yao Chang died instantly on the stage. The sight was extremely bloody and disgusting, while everyone watching suddenly had shivers running down their spines. The whole wide field was dead silent. The only noise that could be heard was a large group of people gulping. Chen Xiang's action made everyone astonished. Someone had actually, right in front of the Yao family gate, in front of an Yao family elder, beheaded one of the Yao family's esteemed juniors. Not only that, but he had also done so in such a bloody and gruesome fashion. When he was trying to kill me, why didn't you try to stop him? If he tries to kill me, what in the world made you think I wouldn't kill him? Moreover, I still followed the rules imposed. Chen Xiang's voice was freezing yet fully of fiery anger. If he wasn't able to disperse the poisonous gas in time, he would have been killed. Just a moment ago, Yao Chang tried to stab Chen Xiang with a short knife. Everybody saw this clear violation of the rules. As such, Chen Xiang violating the rule of no killing did not mean anything. Do you want to fight me? Chen Xiang looked coldly at that Yao family elder as slaughter qi soared out from his whole body. The Yao family elder saw the split in half body lying on the ground, still dripping with blood. His old face was full of anger, with a gaze that was also filled with killing intent. At this time, several other Yao family elders arrived. Ha ha ha. So funny, the Yao family brat decided to go against the rules to try and kill someone, but still couldn't do anything. Instead he was butchered, and now, you old Yao family men are looking for revenge? One extremely bold individual stood up and suddenly started laughing loudly and openly mocking the Yao family. It was extremely loud and open. The ridicule from an audience member made those Yao family elders' complexions extremely ugly. They really hated Chen Xiang, so they had arranged Yao Chang to fight against Chen Xiang. They allowed Yao Chang to take the antidote before he filled his mouth with the poisonous gas, and the Yao Chang spoke with Chen Xiang. This way, Chen Xiang was poisoned. But despite all this, the Yao family underestimated Chen Xiang's strength. Yao Chang wasn't able to seriously injure Chen Xiang, but Yao Chang did not want to waste this golden opportunity, so he took out a short knife and tried to stab Chen Xiang. In Yao Chang's opinion, the Yao family was extremely powerful in the Southern Martial Empire and would be able to easily sweep this matter under the rug. Additionally, he would have killed Chen Xiang. Chen Xiang. We, the Yao family, will not let you off, one elder vengefully stated, his voice full of resentment. Chen Xiang sneered at him and said, the dignified Yao family has actually declined to such a point. Don't worry, I will not let off your Yao family either. Chen Xiang walked down the tournament stage. The Yao family elder didn't dare resort to violence because if he did so, the Yao family would be ridiculed in the entire Southern Martial Empire. Although this King City martial art tournament was managed by the Yao family, they still had to follow the rules. Yao Chang had violated the rules first, so Chen Xiang killing Yao Chang is a matter of course, even if the rules had stated against it. The Yao family wanted to stop Chen Xiang from leaving. They were reluctant to give way, but they all had a really good understanding of Yao Chang's strength. If Chen Xiang had easily executed Yao Chang in such a way, it was certain that Chen Xiang was, at the very least, encroaching the 8th level of the mortal martial realm strength. Chen Xiang, don't be so proud. Yao Chang's teacher will soon come and deal with you. One of the elders coldly snorted before giving way and sending orders to clean up the tournament stage. Both of the participants were thought to be at the 7th level of the mortal martial realm. Yet Yao Chang was so vulnerable in front of Chen Xiang. Beforehand, Yao Chang had madly attacked Chen Xiang with all his might, yet failed to cause any harm to Chen Xiang. It was visible to anyone that Chen Xiang's strength was extraordinary. He was definitely not an ordinary martial artist in the 7th level of the mortal martial realm. Ling Yulin's beautiful curved eyebrows slightly knitted together. Watching Chen Xiang's back, she nibbled on her rosy red lips. She was also in the 7th level of the mortal martial realm, but the true chi she could cast out wasn't nearly as tough as Chen Xiang's. In both making true chi erupt instantly or transforming it into a chi aura attack, it was extremely difficult to achieve it in such an arbitrary way. Even she could just barely do so. The grudge and hatred between Chen Xiang and the Yao family deepened again. Moreover, this time, the other major forces were also tangled in it. This was because the relationship between them and the Yao family was very good. Now that the war between the two were inevitable, they were unsettled. This was because if the Yao family lost the battle, then the Chen family would have annexed the Yao family, firmly grasping all of their properties. Plus, the Chen family was now also one of the strongest Dan forces. If these families helped the Yao family, they would only suffer a loss. Chen Xiang returned to Dan King Hall. He instantly ran to practice within his private room. This time, Su Meiyao was going to teach him some underhanded methods to prevent poisoning. Otherwise, if he encountered a situation like this again, he may not be as lucky as he was today. Little devil, you should have enraged that old man today and made him come out and fight you. Now you've allowed him to prepare, you're too tender, Bai Yu said. She was wearing a black dress, both hands hugging her chest as she leaned on the wall. Her clear as ice eyes displayed an unrestrained killing intent. Su Meiyao gently laughed and said, "Senior sister, I remember that you once said how you were very satisfied with how this brat handles things. What changed?" Bai Yu snorts, "Humph, he doesn't have enough hatred, not decisive enough regarding killing." "Sister Yu, are you not tired of always wearing the same clothes? How about I buy you some newer and prettier outfits?" Chen Xiang laughed and said. In order to please both beauties, Chen Xiang simply resorted to the best method he knew. That was to suggest beautiful clothes as women liked this the most. Regarding this method, he has received rather good results from it. Bai Yu's elegant face turned slightly crimson and her tone also became somewhat gentler. For now, that is not required. Su Meiyao covered her mouth with her soft hands and started laughing. She pouted her small lips and complained. "You little brat, what kind of potion did my senior sister fed you? She has more clothes than me, and I've always been so good to you as well. Yet my things are so few, you are completely biased." Chen Xiang stuck his tongue out, taking a deep breath to inhale the delicate fragrance released from Su Meiyao's body. He deliberately made a bitter face and said, "If I don't do this, how else can I make Sister Bai Yu feel superior?" "Humph, becoming a little more clever are we?" Bai Yu snorts and says. "Senior sister, since you're unwilling, why not give these clothes to me?" Su Meiyao teasingly said. "You're actually asking me to give them to you? We usually share our clothes with each other." Bai Yu gave her a contemptuous look. Chen Xiang knew that both beauties resided all day within a small house inside the ring. No doubt, they were bored, so he often ordered a lot of beautiful clothes and got small things for them so they don't feel too down. He did all of this so that the two beauties would feel happy. Although they were once peerless experts, they had now lost all their strength and were just ordinary girls. Bai Yu and Su Meiyao both knew how to deal with colorless and odorless poisonous gases. They soon taught Chen Xiang what they knew. It was mainly the method of how to guard his meridians using true qi. After leaving the private room, Chen Xiang came to arbor in the backyard. Ming Bo and Chen Luzhang were also here, both discussing alchemy techniques. Chen Xiang joined in on their conversation and all three proceeded to exchange their experiences, which benefited all of them. "Brat, today you've once again stirred up trouble. At such a young age, it's already hard to understand you. How come you have such a knack for trouble?" Chen Luzhang shook his head and laughed. Ming Bo laughed brightly, said, "This brat is truly not ordinary. Otherwise how could I have been defeated by him? It seems like a war between your Chen family and the Yao family is inevitable." Chen Xiang skimmed his lips and replied, "The Yao family asked for it. I think I simply did the right thing." "Young Master Chen, manager, Senior Dan King, I did not think you were all together." A tender, sweet and soft voice drifted over as Chen Zhang's heart jumped up. This was definitely Hua Yuyan's voice. About the matter between Chen Xiang and Hua Yuyan, these two old men had guessed a few things. Otherwise, how come the Dongshang Herbal Manor was willing to sell spirit herbs to the Dan King Hall at such a cheap price? The two old men silently left on their own as Chen Zhang's heart turned bitter. Hua Yuyan's dress was very tight today. Her beautiful jade-like body was wrapped in a long white skirt. She looked like a fairy that enchanted people's mind with elegance. She had a unique flavor. Looking at her, Chen Xiang could not help but secretly praise her again and again, but at the same time he looked somewhat distressed. Seeing Chen Xiang looking depressed, Hua Yuyan angrily said, "I know you hate me." Chen Xiang hurriedly explained, "No, it's just that elder sister Yuyan, you are too tempting, that it could almost be considered a crime." Hua Yuyan suddenly became happy, as she tenderly laughed and said, "Are you worried about me? Relax, as long as you enter the Danqiang Taoyuan and become an excellent alchemist, I'm yours." Chen Xiang shook his head and said, "No, I have already said that I want to enter the extreme martial sect." Hua Yuyan snorts softly and said, "Little sweetheart, are you thinking about other people now?" Chen Xiang quickly replied, I did not. Yuyan's sister, you're really pretty, but as you know, I'm engaged to Chen Xiang. So if I want to have concubines, I need to get her approval as well." Hua Yuyan softly sighed, then stuck her tongue out towards Chen Xiang. Making fun of him, she said, "I do not want to be your mistress, I want to be your maidservant." "Right, I'm going back to the Danxiang Taoyuan today. Why don't you come with me?" Hua Yuyan asked, her face was full of anticipation. Chen Xiang was surprised and replied, "Danxiang Taoyuan? I've already decided to go the extreme martial sect. Thanks for your consideration, but I'll have to decline." Do not be surprised, but each manor lord is called Hua Yuyan. I've managed the Danxiang herbal manor for 2 years. Now I must go back. I must tell you that my real name is not Hua Yuyan. Hua Yuyan said. Her complexion immediately became one full of disappointment, now that she had to walk away from Chen Xiang. "I'm really sorry, but if I have the opportunity, I'll go to the Danxiang Taoyuan and find you," Chen Xiang sighed. Hua Yuyan said with a perfect smile, "Do not worry about the Danxiang herbal manor selling herbs to the Dan King Hall. Even after I'm gone, the Danxiang herbal manor will keep cooperating with the Dan King Hall, and the prices will also not increase." Chen Xiang was confused about why this girl wanted to be his maidservant, nonetheless he was extremely grateful to her. "Thank you. You do not need to be my maidservant, we're friends. In the future, I'll go to the Danxiang Taoyuan and look for you." Hua Yuyan laughed, said, "You do not want me as your girl, you'll certainly regret it later. Remember, you must come to the Danxiang Taoyuan and find me. For now I won't tell you my name, I don't want you finding me so easily after all." As soon as she finished speaking, she quickly went over to Chen Xiang and kissed him, then ran away laughing, leaving Chen Xiang petrified like a stone statue. What's the matter with this woman? Chen Xiang licked his lips that still had some remaining fragrance, making him feel inexplicably wonderful. Su Meiyao laughed softly and said, "This little Yaojing decided to eat you. I'm still not clear how you are so fortunate. Before it was Shui Shenxian, and now this Yaojing has taken a liking to you." Chen Xiang snorts and said in a low voice and in a very cocky way, "Humph, that's because of my charm. You will understand why in the future." These days, although Chen Xiang wasn't refining pills, he had been accumulating dragon saliva for growing herbs. He also started preparations for refining high-grade mortal level dans, and low-grade spirit level dans. This was a new challenge for him, now that his strength was at the 8th level of the mortal martial realm. The very next morning, Chen Xiang arrived at the entrance of the Yao family field. Today was the match between Leng Yulin and Song Nanming. One was the crown prince, while the other was the daughter of a great general. Both of their strength were at the 7th level of the mortal martial realm. This sort of things made others very much look forward to their match. On one side, above the tournament stage, a handsome man wearing a golden huafu stood, while on the other side, a mature girl wearing black tights that sketched out her charming and hot figure. Although she was only a young girl, she was already peerless beauty and had remarkable grace. Furthermore, she had beautiful yet bizarre white hairs, nonetheless she was very attractive. As Chen Xiang watched, he fell into disbelief. In the eyes of the crown prince, Song Nanming, pure unhidden resentment could be seen. Chen Xiang was sure that there must be some deep grudge between the two. "Have you heard? This crown prince once proposed to Leng Yulin but she actually refused. Furthermore, the crown prince then tried to take liberties with her and was slapped as a result," a man said. "I also heard that Leng Yulin kicked him in between his legs, wasting him. Later, he had to spend a large amount of spirit coins to buy an extremely good spirit herb," laughed a middle-aged man. "Ha ha ha, this is definitely going to be fun to watch." Chen Xiang didn't expect Leng Yulin had such courage to deal with Song Naming in such a peculiar way. As the contest started, Leng Yulin once again transformed into a black shadow, treading above the stage. After all, this excellent Qinggong was her speciality. She was moving in hyperspeed above the tournament stage, from time to time sending a slap or a kick towards Song Naming. Each time he either dodged or parried her attack. Song Nanming's strength was also quite good, but still it was a bit lacking compared to Leng Yulin's. After all, she had the fire and ice dual vein, and was able to fuse fire true qi together with ice, resulting in a powerful and strange fusion of true qi. Although Song Nanming was able to parry her attacks, the true qi had a considerable effect on him, making his body feel as if it was sometimes hot and others cold. Additionally, he wasn't able to hit Leng Yulin because she was moving too quickly. Certainly Leng Yulin doesn't just have good martial skills, she only has this Qinggong for high-speed movement. Su Meiyao said. Because of her fire and ice true qi, only a few martial skills are suitable for her. As such, she can only battle this way. In the end, she doesn't get hit by any attack, not even allowing an opportunity for the opponent to touch her. This girl is fairly clever. What Chen Xiang cultivated was a multiple-type true qi, and was also able to direct single or multiple attributes of true qi at the same time. However, Lang Yulan couldn't. She could only use the fusion of fire and ice true qi. Only a few martial art skills utilize both qis at the same time. This was very troubling for Lang Yulan. Although her true qi was terrifying, she lacked a truly suitable martial skill to demonstrate her full power. Song Nanming was still unable to hit Lang Yulan and could not help but grow irritated. He knew that if things were to continue unchanged, he would definitely lose. At this moment, Chen Xiang saw faint flashes of light suddenly flicker above the contest stage. His eyesight was extremely good, he could even see the ant's leg on the tournament stage. What he saw was a few nearly transparent needles that were protruding from Song Naming's sleeves. Ice needles. Chen Xiang silently cursed at Song Naming. Soon, he heard Lang Yulan's cold and beautiful shout. He saw that she was suddenly covering her abdomen, staring at Song Naming with a face full of anger. Song Nanming only grinned in response and in a single step, arrived in front of Lang Yulan. Emitting true qi from his legs, he fiercely kicked Lang Yulan's covered abdomen. The violent and powerful kick struck firmly on her body. Lang Yulan screamed as she flew off the tournament stage. To everyone's surprise, she managed to steadily stop herself. But her hands covering her abdomen were soaked with blood. You despicable fellow. Lang Yulan bit her lips. Her eyes were filled with resentment and hate towards Song Nanming, who was still on the tournament stage. You are merely incompetent, yet you dare call me despicable, Song Nanming sneered. Lang Yulan removed her palm. Her abdomen was still bleeding, but there was nothing to see. She could only feel a trace of coldness. She quickly guessed it was due to an ice needle, but it had already melted. Chen Xiang arrived beside her as he took out some herbal powder and a dispelling poison dan. Speaking in a serious tone, he said, "Be careful, ice needles are often poisonous." Lang Yulan looked at the objects in Chen Xiang's hands and could not help but be surprised. She nibbled her lips and whispered, "Thank you. Don't worry, I'll make him pay for what he did to you." Chen Xiang slightly smiled towards her. Lang Yulan sighed and said, "My hopes for entering a martial sect is now shattered. Many thanks young Master Chen for giving me these dans." Chen Xiang understood that in order to learn appropriate martial skills, Lang Yulan had to enter a sect and search, but now she had lost that opportunity. "Brat, give her the metal spirit fruit and make her go to the extreme martial sect. She has the rare ice and fire dual vein. The extreme martial sect will eagerly accept her," Su Mei Yao said. Chen Xiang was surprised to hear this while looking at Lang Yulan's slightly angry face. Tell her that if the extreme martial sect does not accept her, she could give the metal spirit fruit in exchange for an assessment. This time it was Bai Yu's voice. They were all girls and Lang Yulan is a good seedling, they would naturally want her to have good achievements in the future. Chen Xiang whispered, "Miss Leng, this poison contained within the ice needles may be serious. Could you accompany me to the Dan King Hall for further examination?" Song Nanming, who was on the tournament stage, he grounded his teeth as he watched Chen Xiang and Lang Yulan interact. Song Nanming could not hear what Chen Xiang said, but he hated the fact that the two were talking to each other. Chen Xiang and Lang Yulan acted fairly nice towards each other. One is a prestigious and talented teenager while the other was a 7th-level mortal martial realm beauty. Mutual admiration was a normal thing to occur. Lang Yulan nodded her head and left with Chen Xiang. She was also worried about the poison in the ice needles as she could possibly die from it. On the 3rd floor of the Dan King Hall, Ming Bo's face was full of anger, declaring, "Very good, ruthless poison. This thing could remain hidden in someone's body for a very long time. The majority of this poison could even remain inside an individual for several months, possibly even after a year. Little girl, don't worry too much. Although this position is formidable, once it's found it's actually quite simple to remove." Ming Bo chuckled and pulled out a dan. "This is a high-grade mortal level dan, the cleansing core dan. It can easily detoxify this poison." When Lang Yulan found out that Song Nanming had used such deceitful and devious means to deal with her after the competition, her face was full of hatred. She looked at the dan in Meng Bo's hand and asked in a low voice, "How many spirit coins?" "Just eat it, there is no need to pay." Chen Xiang then took the dan and handed it to her. Meng Bo chuckled as he left on his own cognizance. Lang Yulan had a complex expression that could be seen in her eyes as she looked at Chen Xiang. "Why are you helping me?" Although she had brought up the matter, she guessed that Chen Xiang might have been attracted to her beautiful face. But she also knew that Chen Xiang had a fiancé, one who was currently away in one of those martial sects, a very talented and beautiful girl. Chen Xiang laughed and said, "No big reason, I just wanted to become friends." Lang Yulan swallowed the dan and then smiled towards Chen Xiang. It was similar to a peony flower blossoming. Chen Xiang could not help but stare at her. "I never thought that I would become friends with you, a genius alchemist. It's my pleasure to be friends with you." Lang Yulan's complexion became much better as she softly said, "Many thanks young Master Chen." Chen Xiang shook his head in response and said, "Don't mention it. Here, this is a metal spirit fruit, keep it." Although Lang Yulin was not proficient in herbs, even she had heard about the metal spirit fruit. She also knew that it was this fruit that the Dan King Hall had used to recruit alchemists, but had not expected Chen Xiang to give one to her. Edited by C. Don't ask me why. Just take it and go to the extreme martial sect. If they don't let you join, give them the metal spirit fruit in exchange for an assessment. Through this method, you can enter into the sect, as I believe that you hold all the qualifications needed to pass their examination, Chen Xiang instructed. Lang Yulin was shocked. For her, it was very hard to believe that Chen Xiang would help her in such a way. Yulin, your father, Great General Lang, was killed in battle a few years ago. It was you who has had it hard these past few years. How about we become sworn brother and sister? After I also enter the extreme martial sect, I will take care of you. Chen Xiang's heart was moved when he remembered Lang Yulin's life experience. Watching her, anyone would feel pity and compassion towards her, as they couldn't help but have such feelings. Lang Yulin also became startled. She nibbled her lips as her eyes suddenly became moist. Yet, she faced Chen Xiang, smiled and said, "Little sister greets elder brother." Chen Xiang grinned. Yulin, you have the fire and ice veins. After you enter the martial arts sect, your future prospects are boundless. I'll help you in any way I can. Before, Lang Yulin was a little wary about Chen Xiang, but any of her suspicions and other thoughts had vanished in a puff of smoke. She now knew that, with Chen Xiang's current status, he could get any girl he wished for. It would be very idiotic of him to tarnish his reputation just because of a matter between a man and a woman. Although Chen Xiang and Lang Yulin had just recently met, they were concerned about each other, almost as if they had known each other for a long time, and today, they had met and recognized each other as equals. Chen Xiang was helping her, and essentially showering her with love. She was extremely moved, as this was the first time that someone had shown such care for her after her father's death. They had only met each other for the first time, yet she had already received so much help. Therefore, Lang Yulin was very happy to become Chen Xiang's sister. From the moment she had heard about him, she was impressed by Chen Xiang's strength, almost to the point of secretly worshipping him. Brother, I'll always remember your kindness today. I'll be on my way. My body situation is slightly complicated at the moment. I don't want to delay any longer. Remember to teach that ruthless Song Nanming a lesson he won't forget, Lang Yulin said, as she smiled at Chen Xiang. Yulin, hold on. Be sure to be careful on the way. Chen Xiang then passed her a small jade bottle. Inside of it were several very good pills, solidifying Lang Yulin's feelings of gratitude. Lang Yulin's father was killed 3 years ago in battle. For all these years she had been living alone. It was very difficult for her, however, trying to elevate her strength alone showed that she was a very strong girl. Lang Yulin's eyes once again moistened up, she nodded and said, "Please accept Yulin's salute." Chen Xiang immediately went to hug her, laughingly saying, "My dear sister, I forbid you to do such things. Be careful on your way to the martial sect. I'll become a lot stronger. Brother, you must remember to look for me." Lang Yulin wiped her tears away, as the feelings of receiving somebody's love and concern had made her feel very moved once again. I'll certainly come." Chen Xiang stroked her silky white hair. "Brother, what if I don't go just yet? I know there is some hatred between you and the Yao family. Perhaps I can be of help." Lang Yulin restored her previous cold and proud demeanor, her whole body full of vigor. With her warlike intentions soaring, she resembled a Valkyrie. But watching Chen Xiang, her expression was soft. Chen Xiang shook his head, smiled and said, "No, my Chen family can easily deal with it. Your health is more important." Lang Yulin bit her lips, firmly saying, "Brother, later I'll fight side by side with you. I won't drag you down." Chen Xiang was very pleased with her reply. He nodded his head and asked, "You know the way?" "I know. I have been gathering information about all of the sects long ago. Although the route is somewhat dangerous, I can handle it. There is no need for you to worry," Lang Yulin said. Chen Xiang accompanied Lang Yulin out of the city. Here, he sat down and watched, as she rode away on a horse. In the afternoon, it was Chen Xiang's turn to compete, but when he went to the tournament stage, he was told his competitor had abstained, which made him feel somewhat weird. After the display of Chen Xiang's strength, in addition to the bloody display he had made yesterday when he had killed Yao Chong, everyone was afraid of Chen Xiang's strength and the fear was still lingering in their minds. In the finals, Chen Xiang was going to be facing the crown prince, Song Nanming. The audience was extremely looking forwards towards this match. For many people, the crown prince's strength was unfathomable because of how he had defeated Lang Yulin. Additionally, he was, after all, the crown prince of the Southern Martial Empire. As such, he had a gigantic number of resources and could learn various powerful martial skills. But Chen Xiang knew that Song Nanming's strength was inferior to Lang Yulin. It was only because of his dirty tricks that he had won. Chen Xiang had already decided that as long as the crown prince used ice needles against him, he would act mercilessly. The Dan King Hall had already been opened for a few days. It was also very popular, stealing away a lot of the Yao family's business. Chen Xiang was concerned about the Chen family elder, Chen Furong. He hadn't taken any action yet, even though Chen Xiang had just killed one of the important Yao family's juniors yesterday. Taking into account Chen Furong's previous actions, he should be looking to cause trouble for the Dan King Hall. Chen Xiang was sure he was up to no good. He also received a message from his father that the majority of the Chen family's experts were on their way to the King City. Furthermore, they were coming secretly. Late at night, Chen Xiang was cultivating in a private room when he suddenly sensed the breathing of several people at the 8th level of the mortal martial realms appearing inside the Dan King Hall. He was awakened by this and quickly left his private room, heading towards the source of the breaths. Dad! Chen Xiang was surprised as he looked at the other people present. In the group, there were 2 middle-aged men, the other 3 being rather old. Uncle Yihan, Great Uncle Haohai, Great Elder, Second Elder, and Third Elder. Chen Xiang was shocked in his heart as he quickly saluted these elders. Excluding Chen Haohai, Elder Chen Yihan, the other 3 were at the 7th level of the mortal martial realm. Yet now, they had already entered the 8th level of the mortal martial realm. TLN. I don't know about other, but in my translation Great Elder, Great Uncle, Great Brother as such means eldest brother, uncle and such. Smelly brat. You certainly put my 1,000-year-old blood spirit grass to good use. Chen Haohai laughed merrily. He was quite sorrowful on the day that he had lost that herb. But now, when he saw that the Dan King Hall had flourished to such a degree, he felt surprised and delighted. Chen Yihan smiled. His smile was somewhat gentle while at the same time somewhat sinister, as he said, I didn't expect that you could establish a Dan shop in such a short amount of time. Moreover, drawing in the Dan King, our Chen family will certainly be able to become one of the strongest families in the Southern Martial Empire. The other 3 elders also praised him abundantly. One bald old man said, the Yao family was greatly resisting and blocking our Chen family's entry into King City, among them was Chen Furong. Great Elder is correct. Fortunately for us, we made contact with an ancestor of our Chen family. He helped us break through to the 8th level of the mortal martial realm using spirit-level dans. He cannot meddle in secular worldly matters, so he let us clean out the house and handle Chen Furong. The second elder made a killing gesture. Chen Xiang frowned, asking, how strong is Chen Furong? How many Chen family members have come? Chen Tianyu answered, we brought 300 elite disciples, who are all above the 4th level of the mortal martial realm, while we few old men also came to help. Chen Tianhua was also at the 8th level of the mortal martial realm, and now there are 6 Chen family martial artists who were at the 8th level of the mortal martial realm, counting in Chen Xiang that number was raised to 7. According to the structures of power in the Southern Martial Empire, their strength was quite astonishing. Chen Furong is estimated to be at the 9th level of the mortal martial realm. Thus, 6 of us together may just barely be able to balance it out. The Great Elder said with a somewhat serious expression. Chen Xiang smiled slightly. If our Chen family and the Yao family go to war, you just have to handle the Yao family, leave Chen Furong to me. Chen Tianyu suddenly stood there blankly, as the jaws of the 3 elders were almost touching the ground. My dear son, have you entered the 9th level of mortal martial realm? Chen Tianyu asked. He was astonished and it was clearly visible on his face. Chen Xiang slightly pursed his lips, saying, I'm just at the 8th level of mortal martial realm, but I think I'll be able to hold Chen Furong for quite a while. That way, you elders, with your overwhelming strength, will be able to completely decimate the Yao family. Chen Tianyu let loose a long breath. If Chen Xiang had entered into the 9th level of the mortal martial realm at his age, then he himself, as well as the other old men, should just go die in a handful of water. Thankfully, Chen Xiang had only entered into the 8th level of the mortal martial realm, which still gave them a big surprise. They also knew that his strength couldn't be defined by common norms. After all, when Chen Xiang was merely in the 5th level of the mortal martial realm, he was already able to defeat Chen Yihan, who was in the 7th level of the mortal martial realm. Remembering this fact, the Chen family experts all shuddered. Chen Tianyu and the others soon left. They still had to secretly lead the 300 elites to the Yao family's tournament field tomorrow. Meanwhile, Chen Xiang was still adjusting himself to get to his most optimum state, so that he was prepared to cope with various situations that could occur tomorrow. The weather was sunny in the mornings. As usual, King City was very lively. Many people learned that there was only the final round left of the King City martial art tournament. However, even after that, there was one more hurdle to pass. One of the martial arts sect's disciple was also going to compete. Only after winning against that disciple could someone be considered the victor of the entire tournament. Hearing this new piece of information, Chen Xiang secretly cursed in his heart. He guessed that it must have been because of Chen Furong. He must have disappeared from King City to recruit someone for this specific purpose, just so that Chen Xiang could not be considered the true winner of the King City martial art tournament. Rest assured, it is impossible for an inner disciple to participate. They don't have that much spare time. If I have to guess, it will probably be a relatively strong outer sect disciple. Most likely it will be someone around the 8th level of mortal martial realm. Su Mei Yao said. She and Bai Yu were very clear about the inner proceedings of sects. That's good, I hope that they are not too disappointing. Chen Xiang's fighting spirit soared in his heart. At the Yao family's main entrance, tens of thousands of people had already gathered. This was the finals of the tournament. Besides, it was the competition between two young juniors, both of which very prestigious and strong young men. Among the crowd, Chen Tianyu, Chen Yihan, Chen Haohai and others had already hidden themselves. They each commanded 50 Chen family elite juniors. As soon as there was any sign of trouble, they were ready to take action. As Chen Xiang came over to the middle of the tournament stage, the crowd suddenly burst into an uproar. Surprisingly, he actually dared to come. I heard that the Yao family will take him away right after he wins the finals, one man said with a surprise. It is said that he has something to do with the disappearance of the Yao family elder and their young genius. The Yao family will probably pin that crime on him as an excuse to deal with him, another middle-aged man said. He already has so much courage at such young age. 2 days before, he faced the Yao family elders after massacring Yao Chong. Chen Xiang's strength is also good and he also dares to fearlessly threaten others regardless of their background, one teenager said full of envy. Of course, in this world, strength has always have been revered. As long you have strength, you can have everything. Listening to the arguments and conversations from the audience, Chen Xiang knew that the Yao family had deliberately released some information. This gave off the message that they were prepared to deal with the Chen family, which also signified the start of the war between the two families. This was a very common method. Other forces would often release such information to warn and threaten their opponents. Not far away from the tournament stage, there was a tower. On the top of that tower, there were many luxuriously dressed people residing in a room. Many maids and guards were present around them. From this alone, one could tell that their status was definitely out of the ordinary. The Southern Martial Empire's emperor is also watching the finals. I heard he is here to boost the morale of his son, and that he has also bought many imperial palace experts. In fact, even all of the imperial concubines have come here to watch the finals. Chen Xiang's eyesight was very formidable. Among the people seated in the tower he could see a person wearing the dragon robe asterisk. He had a majestic expression. That middle-aged man with the extraordinary bearing was no doubt the emperor of the Southern Martial Empire. For the common populace, the imperial power was way above them, but for the powerful families, they were simply not worth mentioning. In the eyes of those families, the emperor was just someone who manages the empire, so that it can develop in an orderly fashion. There was not any kind of disarray among the populace, so these families could smoothly gain benefits from the common masses. The crown prince arrived as he flew from that distant tower. He was wearing a fiery red and magnificent dress, displaying the elegant Qinggong skill he had. Softly, he landed on the tournament stage. His arrival alone caused many girls present to scream out. Chen Xiang was secretly belittling him in his heart, thinking, look at you, seeming so imposing. Just wait, I will beat you so hard that even your father, the emperor, will not recognize you afterwards. Song Nanming looked at Chen Xiang with disdain in his eyes and calmly said, if you want to relieve yourself from physical suffering, there is still some time. Song Nanming knew how strong Chen Xiang was, but Song Nanming was also very confident about his victory. Chen Xiang, looking at that arrogant and sinister face of Song Nanming, guessed that he definitely had another despicable trick up his sleeve. This time, Chen Xiang was cautious and ready, otherwise he would be on the back foot again. Rest assured, I'm very thick-skinned. I'm afraid your hand will hurt if you hit me. Chen Xiang replied. It sounded sarcastic, but what he said was the truth. Humph, you don't know the immensity of the heavens. Song Nanming coldly snorted. He intentionally raised his voice, making it so that everyone on the whole field could hear it. Seeing Song Nanming putting on a high and mighty act, Chen Xiang secretly smiled in his heart. If you don't have necessary strength, everything said and done was all completely useless. Start. If someone violates the rules, you can already figure out the consequences, one old man wearing a grey robe shouted. He was not a member of the Yao family but rather one of oldest martial artists. It is said that he was the descendant of the founder of the martial art tournament. Song Nanming had already violated the rules before, but there was no evidence, so Chen Xiang could not do anything or point it out. At the start, Song Nanming faced the audience as he took off his golden red dress. Inside, he was wearing golden tights and golden boots. It looked as if a wealthy nobleman had appeared on stage. Today, I'll show you a bit of the martial skills from our Southern Martial Empire's imperial family. I'll let you experience the formidability of the dragon martial technique, shouted Song Nanming. An unusual fierce breath emanated from his body. It was similar to Chen Xiang's Azure Dragon True Qi, but was lacking in its ancient and majestic imposing aura. Dragon martial technique. This was one of the ancient martial techniques. Legend had it. The technique was handed down by someone who later transformed into a divine dragon. After casting it, one would gain the same imposing manner and power as a real dragon. That said legend was certainly formidable, however, to be as formidable as dragon was very hard to believe. Watching the visible golden essence flowing in the blue veins of Song Nanming's fists, everyone could not help but gasp. They had not expected that they would be able to witness the mystical, dragon martial technique, in their lifetime. Chen Xiang narrowed his eyes, released his powerful and invisible divine sense. He enveloped Song Nanming's whole body, and could clearly see Song Nanming's internal organs and was also able to observe how his true qi was circulating. Simultaneously, Chen Xiang secretly stored the whole process in his mind, and then also made his true qi flow in accordance with the previous method. I did not expect the dragon martial technique to appear in this secular world. Make sure to remember every bit of it. Su Mei Yao transmitted this order to Chen Xiang. Chen Xiang had already learned the entire technique. At this time, Song Nanming, because of the profound method of circulating his qi, had made all of his internal true qi change in order to produce a stronger and more powerful force. Dragon Aura Fist. Song Nanming fiercely leapt into the air, as if a golden aura was shot towards Chen Xiang. Song Nanming's fists quickly transformed, which had an uncanny resemblance to the eagle claws. Constantly rumbling, one after another, golden qi aura flew towards Chen Xiang, sending shock waves in the air as they flew past, followed by bursts of sonic booms one after another, as they violently struck on Chen Xiang's chest. After the golden qi aura struck Chen Xiang's chest, Song Nanming soon appeared in front of Chen Xiang. Both of their fists flew towards each other. As the two moved, only explosions followed them. Fist met fist at an extremely fast pace. From afar, it appeared as if both of them had thousands of arms. In the mere blink of an eye, a few hundred punches had already been exchanged, each filled with true qi, resulting in numerous explosions. Song Nanming threw out qi aura with each fist, and also produced a qi explosion. As such, the huge tournament stage started shaking, while the frightening sonic booms made more and more people shudder. But what made everyone dumbfounded was not the fact that Song Nanming had casted the dragon martial technique, but rather the fact that Chen Xiang's fists had met evenly with Song Nanming's blows. Furthermore, the speed of Chen Xiang's fists were exactly the same as Song Nanming's punches. Additionally, all of this was done with a relaxed expression on Chen Xiang's face. TLN. Long Pao, or the dragon robe are the gowns worn by the emperor in China. It is just a robe with a dragon or many dragons on it. If you are interested how it looks, you can check it out here. All of the robes shown there are Long Pao. The crowd was unable to clearly see the quick blows from Song Nanming. Each of them was covered in a very powerful qi aura, but Chen Xiang was able to keep up his opponent's speed. In fact, it seemed as if he was precisely judging the end location of each blow, and then accurately retaliated with his own. Chen Xiang was using the Azure Dragon True Qi. Violent lightning was flashing in between the two figures, rumbling as they moved from place to place. With each counter blow, a roar could be heard, each producing its own qi aura storm. This was far more imposing and stronger than the so-called Dragon Aura Fist from Song Nanming. The sight above the tournament stage was a dazzling sight to behold. It was as if two people were responsible for a giant parade of fireworks, except, instead of countless sparks, they were deadly explosions caused from the two fists colliding against each other. It was Song Nanming who had first initiated the fight, but now he was gradually retreating, yet somehow he remained dignified. Both of his fists were now numb. He could sense Chen Xiang's vigorous true qi from each counterattack. But it was more than that. Song Nanming had also thought that he would be able to quickly defeat Chen Xiang by casting the Dragon Aura Fist. So Song Nanming had desperately consumed a vast amount of true qi for the martial skill. Yet it just ended up being easily repulsed by Chen Xiang. This lost ancient martial skill is not something the likes of you can use. You are simply unworthy of the dragon martial technique. Chen Xiang suddenly sneered as his blows became even more fierce. Suddenly he retreated a few steps as golden qi started to emanate from his whole body. On both of his fists, golden true qi was flowing inside his meridians, similar to what happened when Song Nanming used the dragon martial technique. But compared to the previous scene, this one seemed much more formidable. The golden aura valiantly surged, reflecting even in Chen Xiang's eyes. His hands looked like they were covered in solid gold, vaguely giving off the illusion that they had turned into vigorous and powerful eagle claws. In fact, golden scales started appearing one by one, piece by piece. Their aura valiantly surged, combining and fusing with the slaughter qi, which made it capable of shaking people's very soul. The dragon martial technique was suitable for someone who used the metal attributed true qi. Chen Xiang's metal attributed true qi corresponded to the white tiger. As his metal attributed true qi carried killing intent, when he casted the dragon martial technique, his imposing manner not only combined with his threatening slaughter qi, but rather multiplied its strength. His imposing aura was not only that of slaughter and fear, but also the aura of someone who disdained the entire world. Arrogant, conceited, ignoring all world powers and influences, he stood there alone. In that distance tower, the emperor fiercely rose up from his throne. His eyes were wide open and a clear look of astonishment could be seen in them. Looking at Chen Xiang, the emperor muttered, "Impossible. Impossible. Only we of the imperial family possess the dragon martial technique. How in the world would a brat like him learn it?" Suddenly, pure raw murderous intent appeared on the emperor's face. "Inside the entire southern martial empire, we must never allow others to grasp the dragon martial technique. Only we, of the imperial family, can be considered the true descendants of the dragon race." Chen Xiang had never thought that dragon martial technique was profound or hard to master. After all, he simply followed and recreated the exact same things he saw in Song Nanming when he had operated his true qi for this technique. Albeit, it was a little bit complicated, but Chen Xiang had an extremely powerful and keen divine sense. He easily perfectly memorized it and branded it onto his mind. Now that he had finally cast his new skill, an amazingly powerful aura was emitted throughout his entire body. You, how could you? Where in the world did you learn this? Only those of us who have the dragon blood inheritance are able to learn it, a mere mortal like you." His words weren't even completely finished before Chen Xiang took a step, which erupted into a loud explosion. In fact, even the tournament stage that had been made of thick wood was suddenly crushed, completely collapsing under the tyrannical might of this single step. Smoke and dust scattered in all directions, shocking the hell out of everybody watching. This level of frightening power caused everyone close to the stage to retreat. They feared their lives would be in danger if they stayed too close. Although it consumes a lot of true qi, its power if equally great. Indeed, it is truly worthy of the title of a lost ancient martial skill. Chen Xiang could not help but marvel at the strength he now possessed. He had not expected to learn this mighty martial skill. Chen Xiang had gotten a very large harvest. Song Nanming was shocked by this, but there was also hate and envy at how Chen Xiang could display the very same dragon martial technique, yet at such a more profound and powerful level. It also gave Song Nanming insight into the technique's frightening depths, yet he simply could not reach the same level of force as Chen Xiang. "Chen Xiang, do not blame me. Blame yourself for showing off your ability." Song Nanming's eyes suddenly flashed with a hint of a ferocious and ruthless aura. He fiercely waved his hand as 10 very fine and small needles penetrated the dense smoke of dust, flying straight towards Chen Xiang. Although smoke was flying around everywhere, Chen Xiang's divine sense was still extremely formidable. He was able to completely grasp all the movement of objects around him, including those tiny needles that were currently flying straight at him. As the needles flew towards Chen Xiang, he shouted as a sudden wall of fire appeared in front of him. This was alchemical true qi fire, which was capable of refining even the most heat-resistant materials that were harder than iron. Those tiny needles never stood a chance. Those needles instantly melted when they struck that wall of fire. The firewall also soon vanished, shortly after the smoke started to disperse as well. With that powerful and mighty dragon qi aura surging in both his fists, Chen Xiang walked step by step towards Song Nanming. "Dragon aura fist!" Chen Xiang coldly shouted. Both of his fists crazily smashed towards his opponent. It was as if thousands of golden meteors were raining down on Song Nanming. Song Nanming was still in daze due to the fact that Chen Xiang could evade even those tiny hidden needles. Song Nanming didn't even see it coming when those dragon aura fists rained down him. In just the blink of an eye, his whole body had been struck hundreds of times by those hard golden fists. The sound of impact on his flesh was like a thunderbolt capable of shaking the heavens, yet also resembled fierce firecrackers that were successively bursting one after another. Song Nanming's whole body was attacked so fiercely and madly that every piece of his flesh, bones, and even meridians had ruptured and broken. His entire body looked like it had been squeezed together into paste. He lay there on the ground, like a large piece of meat pie, somehow still alive. Technically, since he did not die, this brutal beating was not counted as a violation of the rules. However, Song Nanming could be considered to be among the living dead. From where does he resemble anything like human? There only remained a putty of rotten meat. Everyone in the field vomited. Some people were even more frightened and were also shrieking while they were vomiting. That thing did not resemble the previous arrogant, handsome and terrifying crown prince even the slightest bit. You asked for it. Chen Xiang thought that he was in the right and simply taught a very simple lesson to the arrogant crown prince. Originally, he simply wanted to defeat Song Nanming, but when he had attacked with those vicious needles, Chen Xiang erupted with fury and was unable to hold back his power as he exploded with 80% of his full strength. Nanming! A roar came from the far-off distance, yet it still shook the ears of the audience in the wide field. A very angry middle-aged man wearing long pows suddenly appeared at the side of Song Nanming, whose very condition of whether he was still alive or not was very hard to determine. This was the Southern Martial Empire's emperor, Song Wu. Everyone present on the wide field were still in a daze from the previous incident. Chen Xiang had crippled the emperor's son, and emperor is in no way weak. Maybe a big battle would erupt soon. Take the crown prince back to the imperial palace. Song Wu shouted at the two people behind him. They were the imperial palace experts, who had arrived right after Song Wu. They had previously come along with him to watch the tournament, moreover they were also very strong. Chen Xiang didn't violate any sort of rules, and as Song Nanming's father, he was also very well aware of the petty means Song Nanming used in the tournament. The emperor guessed that Chen Xiang must have found out and was annoyed. In order to prevent everyone here from discovering the petty tricks of Crown Prince, the emperor made the others to take Song Nanming back to Imperial Palace, rather than sending him to the Yao family. The emperor's reputation was more important than anything else. If the general population came to learn about how the Crown Prince resorted to deceitful tricks, then the days of ruling over the Southern Martial Empire would soon come to an end. Furthermore, if this sort of thing was found out by the Yao family, then they would use it as blackmail and threaten the emperor into doing things he did not want to do. Chen Xiang soon saw through the hidden reason in Song Wu's act. Chen Xiang simply smiled and said, "Indeed you are the monarch of a country. That decision you just made, to not keep your son in the Yao family was brilliant. Soon you will realize that the action you just took gave you a big benefit and also saved you from a larger predicament." Song Wu coldly snorted, "It is normal to get injured while participating in the martial art tournament, but you were too heavy-handed. You better hope the Crown Prince is all right, otherwise." After saying his threat, Song Wu quickly sped away. The emperor had not taken into account that Chen Xiang was responsible for this incident. Everyone let out a deep breath, at the same time they admired Song Wu's mind. Chen Xiang walked towards the old man who was presiding over the tournament, and asked, "I am the winner of this tournament, now may I receive the rewards?" There was a perfectly visible expression of helplessness on the old man's face. He said, "I'm just presiding over the tournament, the reward is not distributed by me. The true elemental Dan is given out by the sects. You will get it once you pass through their assessment." A sliver of a smile flashed on Chen Xiang's face. Although it seemed very charming, that old man felt unbased fear and could not help but shudder. It seemed that just a moment earlier, an overwhelming slaughter chi had secretly burrowed deep into his body and soul, making him feel like death was nigh. Actually, just a moment ago, Chen Xiang was extremely angry and had inadvertently released frightening amount of slaughter chi. From the very start of this tournament, to its current end, he knew that it was manipulated by others. Even the final winner would find it very difficult to get that true elemental Dan. Chen Farong arrived, although he was one of the Chen family seniors, due to wanting to curry favor with the Yao family members in the martial sect, he wanted to prevent the development of his own family, even resorted into attacking his own family patriarch. Previously, when Chen Farong wounded Chen Tianyu, the entire Chen family, whether their position was high or low, no longer accepted Chen Farong as one of their own. Chen Farong was followed by a beautiful, delicate, and fair-skinned man. He looked very elegant and bewitching, his whole body exuding a very pure true qi. From this alone, one could tell that this martial artist's true qi was astonishingly vibrant and pure. Chen Xiang, I did not think you would successfully open the Dan King Hall. Moreover, you also harmed my new apprentice. Yao Chang's master was actually Chen Farong. Shut up, you traitor of the family. You are not part of our Chen family. What I want to do is my own business and none of yours. Why would my Dan shop have to get an old dog's approval? Who do you think you are? You're just an old dog who has a speciality in licking other people's shoes. Chen Xiang loudly shouted, his voice vibrating throughout the whole field. Every single one of the hidden Chen family members heard it, and their hearts relaxed. You fucking brat, you seek death. Chen Farong had a very red face due to his anger, and wanted nothing more than to personally come out and fight Chen Xiang. But before he could do anything, he was stopped by the man behind him. Let me and this Southern Martial Empire's strongest teenager exchange blows. I would like to see with what ability you want to take away the true elemental Dan. That man coldly said. His complexion was filled with disdain, making one feel as if he thought he was the strongest in the entire world. Chen Xiang replied back with a curt and cold tone. You both are part of sects and belong to their world. You are to only participate in those matters, yet you violate your sect rules and regulations, especially this old fart. If you win, this true elemental Dan is yours. If you lose, you have to die, the man coldly said. Why would I have to die if I lose? Chen Xiang sneered. Because no one has ever lived after a martial art contest against me, Zhang Long said with a proud look. Chen Xiang burst into laughter, as if he had just heard the world's most funniest joke. Aren't you just at 8th level of mortal martial realm? In the eyes of those inner sect disciples, you're similar to dog feces. Do not think that after coming out of the sect's world, you would be my king. Do not attempt to abuse your power here. After all, from the looks of it, you do not even have enough capability to do so. Zhang Long was furious as cold chi started to rise and emanate throughout his whole body. His eyes were filled to the brim with murderous intentions. You're definitely going to die today. Chen Xiang did not know how Chen Farong found such an opinionated guy. It seemed that in his eyes, people who were not in a sect were just ants. At this time, the crowd had all retreated. A battle with an expert in the 8th level of the mortal martial realm would have a very large backlash, but at the same time they were also very excited about the upcoming match. This was because, if what they heard is true, then to get the rewards Chen Xiang had to defeat the martial arts sect's disciple. Just viewing their battle could be considered very fortunate. After all, this was a martial arts sect's disciple. No doubt, this match would give many benefits to the observing martial artists. The ground was covered with splinters of wood, which was all due to Chen Xiang's previous stomp that had destroyed the entire tournament stage. Chen Furong retreated back. He was very confident in Zhang Long. Chen Furong thought that Chen Xiang would definitely die this time, and then the Chen family would be completely annexed by the Yao family. This would lead to his relations with that Yao family member in the martial arts sect to become much better. It looks like you're older than me. Do you think winning against me right now could be considered glorious? I'm only 16 years old, Chen Xiang said with a smile, but this expression seemed like he was smiling yet not, creating a considerable paradox. If he hadn't spoke, everyone here really would have forgotten about his age. Thinking about this, everyone sighed in their hearts. Only at 16 years of age, he already had such accomplishments. This was definitely one very prestigious and powerful teenager. Fine, I'll allow you to have one move. I will stand here unmoving, but after that I'll act with no mercy. Zhan Long had just arrived and Chen Furong had told him that Chen Xiang was only in the 7th level of the mortal martial realm. Because Zhan Long was in the 8th level of the mortal martial realm, he was very disdainful of the fact that the other party was an alchemist and most certainly not focused on the martial path, so of course he is quite weak. In the regular world, anyone in the 8th level of the mortal martial realm was already considered to be one of the top martial artists. But the disciples from the martial arts sects could also absorb richer spirit qi, as well as eat spirit-grade food and dan. Their true qi exercises were also very good. With all of these factors combined, the people in the regular world could not hope to match the sect's level of martial skill. You'll let me have a single move? Chen Xiang's voice was emotionless, but he was secretly delighted in his heart. An 8th level of the mortal martial realm expert was about to be struck by his fist with no retaliation. Not to mention Zhang Long, even if it was someone in 9th level of mortal martial realm would definitely not feel fine afterwards. Zhang Long sneered and said, you must have to squeeze out all your power in this one attack, because it'll be the last one of your life, afterwards, you are dead. I'm going to attack. Chen Xiang retreated a few steps. Inside his heart he was secretly very pleased. He did not think that there would be such an arrogant idiot in this world. Zhang Long smiled disdainfully. His whole body shook a bit as a pure white mist was emitted from his body, subsequently transforming into a strong qi aura. It formed a qi cover that enveloped his whole body. The whole crowd could feel the qi aura shield and even see how sturdy it is. This was because when the qi shield was formed, the broken pieces of wood bordering it had instantaneously turned into powder. You sure enough have some means, but it's merely at this level. You have let me down, Chen Xiang thought in his heart, while operating the Tai Chi divine exercise, and mobilizing the 5 elements of true qi in his body. Last time, when he was in 5th level of mortal martial realm, he defeated Chen Yihan using the very same 5 elements true qi, fusing and transforming them into the universal force. This was a chaotic ancient force that has existed since the beginning of time. It was the power that formed heaven and earth. Its true might was unfathomable. However, Chen Xiang's universal force was only in embryonic stages. Yet it was still extremely terrifying. The last time he casted it, his entire body went through unbearable pain, but now it was a completely different matter. He was now in the 8th level of mortal martial realm. Moreover, his body had gone through refinement in the immortal and devil pool, slowly transforming his body into an immortal and devil body. Now, his body was entirely capable of withstanding this ancient universal force. This could be said to be his ace in the hole, his strongest card which he rarely used. When he saw that the opposing party in front of him was an idiot who wanted to die, he would certainly not refuse and definitely comply with the other party's wishes. When his opponent died, he would let them know and feel with their body what was called people beyond people, skies beyond skies. TLN basically means, no matter how good you think you are, there is always someone out there that is better. In the Raws it was only half of the original idiom, skies beyond skies, but I added it all. The full idiom gives a better and more complete message. The 5 elements true qi soon fused together within Chen Xiang, transforming itself into the universal force. It surged into his arms, yet did not reveal a trace of its existence. At this moment, Chen Xiang leapt and rushed towards Zhang Long. Seeing Chen Xiang come towards him, moreover, not even releasing any type of breath fluctuations, Zhang Long pursed his lips and showed a contemptuous sneer. Chen Xiang's speed was not fast. After all, he was going to attack a standing target, but upon his fist was the universal force from the fusion of 5 elements true qis. Heavenly Tiger Storm Killing Fist. Chen Xiang arrived in front of Zhang Long. Chen Xiang's fists rumbled as they moved. Suddenly, above his 2 fists, a translucent tiger head appeared. The tiger head opened its big jaws and directly penetrated Zhang Long's proud qi aura shield, striking unhindered on his chest. The qi shield was broken in an instant. Both Chen Furong and Zhang Long were fiercely startled in their hearts, but before either of them could react, the fist had already arrived in front of Zhang Long. Chen Xiang's fist, which contained that mysterious power, struck flatly on Zhang Long's chest. As the fist landed on Zhang Long's chest, he felt an endless amount of power madly gushing into his body and decimating every inch of his body as quickly as possible. In that very moment, he felt various kinds of pain exploding throughout his body, and then lost his consciousness, lost forever from this world. The entire crowd was petrified like statues, but they also could not help but continuously replay the scene from just a moment ago in their minds. Chen Xiang blasted his fist, penetrating that formidable qi shield, as it struck unhindered on Zhang Long's chest. Instantly, a blood mist burst out from where his body used to be, exploding from within. It was like his body was a tomato that had just been ruthlessly squashed on the ground, flattened into a red mush. Just one fist from Chen Xiang, and Zhang Long, who was in the 8th level of the mortal martial realm, became meat putty. That blood mist was still floating within the wide field, drifting with the wind, intermittently exuding a fishy smell. This caused a feeling of nausea to rise within everyone's throat. The crowd watching were shocked to their very core. This scene had forever etched itself into their minds. Chen Xiang looked indifferent. Humph, he snorted in low voice, waving his hand and releasing his true qi fire, burning that meat putty on the ground. Afterwards, he picked up Zhang Long's storage pouch and threw it into his. I defeated the sect disciple, now give me the true elemental Dan. Chen Xiang looked coldly at Chen Furong. Although he had killed Zhang Long, Chen Xiang knew in his heart that he would not be punished. In his opinion, such a proud, arrogant and supercilious guy would never be acknowledged by any of the martial art sects. Not to mention the fact that Zhang Long had violated their rules and abused his powers in the regular world. Chen Furong's white eyebrows were madly twitching. With bloodshot eyes, he looked grim and terrifying. He was furious. He had not expected Chen Xiang to be so strong. Only one punch, and Zhang Long had exploded from within. Even for Chen Furong, this feat would be very difficult to achieve. I cannot give it to you, Chen Furong yelled. Why? Chen Xiang coldly and forcefully asked. It is because you killed Yao Tianhua and also a Yao family elder. Due to killing members from the martial art tournament managing family, you cannot be rewarded. Chen Furong loudly shouted, sending the audience into an uproar. Previously, they had not thought Yao Tianhua was killed by Chen Xiang. Yet now, everyone did not doubt a single bit of it, because Chen Xiang's strength explained everything. You have no evidence, do not speak irresponsibly, Chen Xiang indifferently said. Considering just the relationship between him and the Yao family, even if nothing had been revealed, the Chen and Yao family would still go to war. It was just a matter of time. Chen Furong sneered. By using an ancient secret method, we have collected Yao Tianhua's residual spirit. He told us himself. Do you want to hear? After speaking, Chen Furong showed a palm-sized yellow paper with various patterns on it. Upon seeing it, Chen Xiang was very surprised because he knew this was a talisman. It was a very rare, mystical and frightening thing. Only a few people knew how to make such a thing. Talisman experts, he had often heard Su Meiyao and Bai Yuyu mentioning them. Even those two mysterious beauties constantly longed for this vocation. Chen Furong read a spell and poured his true qi into the talisman. Immediately after, the pattern above the talisman suddenly lit up, and everyone heard a very terrifying voice. Chen Xiang killed us, Chen Xiang killed us. The voice sounded like it originated from hell, extremely terrifying and full of resentment. Hearing it, everyone felt a cold shiver running down their spines. What do you have to say now? Chen Furong coldly said. He finally revealed his trump card, which can intensify the conflict between the Chen and Yao family, urging the two families into a full-scale war. As long as he helped the Yao family eliminate the Chen family, then the Yao family would no doubt be very grateful to him. With such irrefutable evidence confirming Chen Xiang killed Yao Tianhua, everyone was very shocked. Originally, a few people were still uncertain, but now that uncertainty had vanished in puff of smoke. Correct, I killed Yao Tianhua and that Yao family elder, Chen Xiang calmly said. Everyone admired the fact that he can be so calm even at this moment. We, the Yao family will fight with the Chen family until one of us has been exterminated. A middle-aged man with a striking resemblance to Yao Tianhua jumped out and yelled. This was the Yao family patriarch, Yao Hong. They were the ones who first tried to kill me. They even sent assassins. On that day, we of the Chen family hosted a banquet and invited many major families. Yao family wanted to create trouble, and sent various assassins to kill the other family's children. Through this method, you wanted the other families to become hostile to our Chen family, Chen Xiang gloomily said. Although he had no conclusive evidence, every single word he said was the truth. Slanderous accusations, the Yao family, would never do such a thing, Yao Hong shouted. He knew that Chen Xiang didn't have any evidence. The Yao family's assassins worked very discreetly and made sure to cover up their tracks. Chen Xiang smiled coldly before his body suddenly disappeared and reappeared in front of an old man. This old man was one of the Yao family elders. Although this elder could feel somebody coming near him, he failed to act in time. Chen Xiang's actions were far faster. With a single move he scattered his opponent's true qi. "Do not come near me or I'll kill him," Chen Xiang said. His palm struck the head of that Yao family elder and stunned him. The Yao family elders were the source of the Yao family's strength, so the Yao family members did not dare act rashly. "Chen Xiang, you are definitely dead today. If you surrender yourself, I'll make sure to leave your corpse intact," Chen Furong threatened. However, he could not act, otherwise Chen Xiang may very well kill the Yao family elder and then Chen Furong would be held responsible for it. Everyone thought that Chen Xiang grabbed the Yao family elder as a hostage, but it was far from the truth. He just wanted to use Bai Yu's strange martial skill on the Yao family elder, which could control the consciousness of the other party and make them speak the truth. Chen Xiang poured his divine sense into the Yao family elder's head, and operated the qi according to that peculiar exercise. The Yao family elder then fell into a sluggish state. "I ask you, was it your Yao family who had sent assassins to kill the major family's children?" Chen Xiang asked. "Yes," that Yao family elder replied. Hearing the answer, Yao Hong's complexion suddenly became very ugly as the entire field burst into clamor. Before, when they heard Chen Xiang, they didn't believe a single bit of it. But now, when a Yao family elder admitted to the fact, it was very hard not to believe. "Why?" Chen Xiang continued with his interrogation. "Because the Chen family forces were slowly but steadily growing. Once the Chen family stepped into the Dan business, it would threaten our Yao family. So we took the advantage of major families participating in the Chen family banquet and tried to kill those families' children, making them hostile towards the Chen family. By doing this, it will be beneficial to our Yao family," that Yao family elder replied. Chen Xiang sneered and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, the Yao family has done many despicable things. Our Chen family, in order for the general population to get low-costing dans, founded the Dan King Hall. Yet the Yao family vigorously tried to stop us from opening Dan King Hall. Their purpose is evidently clear, and very simple. They want to continue gaining everybody's hard-earned spirit coins, making sure you select their Yao family's high-priced Dan shop." Yao Hong was furious. He shouted, "Chen Xiang, in the end, what strange demonic technique did you use to control our Yao family elder? Chen Xiang, you killed our Yao family's peerless genius and now you even want to slander our Yao family. We, the Yao family, must eradicate your Chen family." Chen Xiang coldly laughed and replied, "Yao Tianhua, a peerless genius? Is that why he lost to me? Also, I acted all alone. Why must you pull in my Chen family? It seems that your Yao family is really worried about our Chen family affecting your Dan business." At this time, every single person in the crowd had already cursed the Yao family multiple times. When the Dan King Hall had just been opened, it was immediately trashed before it could even do business. A lot of people knew about this, and now listening to Chen Xiang say it, they felt what the Yao family did was truly very insidious. "Chen Xiang, release him, you're a martial artist, so let us fight it out fair and square." Chen Furong had a new outlook on Chen Xiang's strength. Even one of the Yao family elders was unable to resist one of Chen Xiang's moves and was instantly held hostage. Chen Xiang coldly said, "Chen Furong, you're no longer a Chen family member. You were already expelled from our Chen family. You're just a traitor to the Chen family, and according to our rules, any traitor must die." After he finished speaking, Chen Xiang's palm struck the Yao family elder's head, which was like chipping a watermelon. It instantly got torn apart and the gray matter of his brain splashed in all directions. Watching this scene, everyone was stunned. Committing such an action was nothing short of a declaration of war from Chen Xiang to the Yao family. "Humph, anyway, I've already killed 2 of the Yao family members. Scrapping 1 more is nothing," Chen Xiang calmly stated. The Yao family was very strong, yet Chen Xiang was now standing alone in front of the Yao family. With how Chen Xiang was acting, he was simply seeking death. As expected, Yao Hong roared, "Surround him, I want him hacked into pieces." "Chen Xiang, this is what you asked for." Chen Furong knew that he had committed a grave crime and was damned as a traitor, but he was not afraid of it. He believed in the regular world, only a few people in the Chen family could overpower him. Chen Xiang was suddenly surrounded by several old men. These old men were the Yao family elders, 2 of which were in the 8th level of mortal martial realm. Yao Hong was also at the 8th level of mortal martial realm. However, Chen Xiang was still just calmly standing there. A lot of people on the field quickly retreated, but around 300 or so did not move. Yao Hong calmly gazed over these 300 or so people. The true qi emanating from some of those people were not weak at all. These people were not pushovers. "Chen Tianyu." Chen Furong recognized one of them and immediately shouted. When he saw several other experts from the 8th level of the mortal martial realm, his heart could not help but beat like crazy. Before, when he went back to the Chen family, he did not find such experts present. "Traitor. Today is the day you die." Chen Tianyu took out a broadsword with a tiger head-shaped hilt while walking towards Chen Xiang's location. The Chen family had actually arrived at the Yao family entrance. No one expected this, and even more so that they would bring along with 300 people. Nonetheless, the Yao family experts were now feeling a lot of pressure, because the other side had 6 experts in 8th level of the mortal martial realm, while they only had 4. Mr. Chen, this. Yao Hong glanced at Chen Furong. Chen Furong was in the 9th level of the mortal martial realm and he was backing up the Yao family. This was why they dared to go to war with the Chen family. Leave it to me. Chen Furong sneered and immediately floated, flying towards Chen Tianyu. At this time, Chen Xiang suddenly disappeared from his location as he leapt fiercely up into the air, arriving in front of Chen Furong. Chen Xiang proceeded to roar, as a large amount of lightning and wind aura azure true chi surged out from his mouth. Accompanied by a terrifying roar of an angry dragon, this aura drowned Chen Furong. Kill all the Chen family members, leave no one alive, Yao Hong shouted. At this time, Chen Tianyu, along with his tiger head broadsword and 50 other strong Chen family members, rushed towards Yao Hong. Everyone slaughter chi soared as true chi exploded from within their bodies. Watching their patriarch personally take action, every other Chen family member was reluctant to fall behind. Everyone madly roared, facing the sky and took out their broadswords. In front of thousands of Yao family members, all the Chen family members marched forward with a steady pace. The roar of 300 Chen family members resounded throughout King City. With each step, the entire field also shook. They were the elites of Chen family and were completely unafraid of death. They were selected to protect the Chen family and they would never hesitate to defend their own family. 300 people against thousands, the Yao family had far more people. The distant crowd could not help but get roused and cheer for the Chen family from the side. Chen Xiang and Chen Furong fought, as the 300 Chen family members and thousands of Yao family members also start fighting. Both battles broke out at the same time, and various roars were mixed together. The entire battlefield was confusing and chaotic. Only an instant had passed after the battle started, yet more than half of the bricks in entire field had already been destroyed. As long as Chen Furong was occupied with him, Chen Xiang was not worried about Chen Tianyu and others, because they were in the 8th level of the mortal martial realm. Chen Furong, after suffering the azure dragon roar in the sky, had a dignified complexion. This was because he was absolutely sure that Chen Xiang's strength was at the 8th level of the mortal martial realm. Chen Xiang was only 16 years old, having lived in the regular world with very scarce resources, yet has still managed to reach such a level, not to mention that he was also an alchemist. Chen Xiang, I have to admit you are very talented, but this is your matter, the Chen family's matter, and no longer has anything to do with me. I am only doing this to gain benefits in the sect. If I help the Yao family here, I'll obtain various advantages in the true martial sect, therefore I must kill you. I already do not have any sense of belonging and I hate the Chen family, Chen Furong sternly shouted with a smile. Chen Xiang maintained total silence as he fused his internal 5 elements of true chi. Facing a 9th level of the mortal martial realm expert, who came from a martial arts sect, he could only rely on the universal true chi to defeat this opponent. Everyone knew that people from the martial arts sets came to watch the King City martial art tournament to select a disciple. Those people were all at least in the 9th level of the mortal martial realm. This kind of strength, in the Southern Martial Empire, was extremely rare and their level of strength was also very terrifying. At such a young age, Chen Xiang was going to face one of these experts. A lot of people were also looking forward to this as Chen Xiang's strength was also unfathomable. Just a moment ago, he had killed a martial arts sect's disciple who was in the 8th level of the mortal martial realm with a single punch. Humph, I did not expect the Chen family members to be such idiots. You are sending a mere brat to contain me. If it were those 6 experts in the 8th level of the mortal martial realm, then perhaps you would have had an opportunity to escape, but now you can only die along with them. The Chen family is finished. From Chen Furong's body, a red true chi emerged, covering his hands and feet as his eyes gradually reddened up. Seeing this, Chen Xiang retreated a few steps. For the first time, he was going to fight with a 9th level of the mortal martial realm expert. This was one of the strongest enemies he had ever faced. Sensing the level of true chi, Chen Xiang gradually became more and more dignified.